So really excited to have everybody here for the spring version of our Learnapalooza Light meetup. We put this on really to build a community. We about 6 years ago, Aaron and I said, "Hey, can we build a community? Can we help do things a little bit differently?" And so that's what this was. It was actually born out of a conference and really disrupting how people are doing conferences. So that's the reason we were doing it. We are going to put on our conference. It's just not going to be in June of this year. We originally had planned our Learnapalooza Innovation Jam for June 19th. That has been canceled, and we're going to move to a date in September, and we'll come out with a date in the next week or so. So but you can put in September 11th or September 18th on your calendar. Those are the 2 dates we're looking at. Really excited about that because a lot of people, if you've come to a Learnapalooza conference, it is a full day of just innovation and disruption, and we do a lot of networking. We do a lot of hands-on type of learning. We don't do a whole lot of tracks and sessions that you just sit in and listen to people. There's just a lot going on in these Learnapalooza conferences that we put on. Just as a highlight, the Learnapalooza conference that we are going to do in September is at the Global Innovation Exchange in Bellevue, Washington, which is just a few minutes away from Seattle, Washington. And you can see here, not only is it a cool looking building, there's a lot of innovation that goes on in that space. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in an upcoming newsletter. But again, just some really cool things that are going to happen at Learnapalooza. And then finally, we'll actually have a few more of these Learnapalooza or Lap Light meetups. On April 23rd, we have Brian Washburn joining us, who's the co-inventor of Soapbox. It's a learning design platform. And then after that, we'll have Amy Lou Abernathy from AMP Creative, and after that, we'll have John Chen from GeoTeaming doing some other learning sessions, and we'll come out with our newsletter and go through some of that a little bit more. So what I'd like to do though is I'd love to introduce you to Betty. And so Betty is a 17-year seasoned learning and development professional. She's innovative. She loves technology. Her passion and mission is to help people become better humans through high performance coaching and development experiences. She believes very strongly that innovative technology has a huge role in that mission. And if you're looking to get more information from Betty, we've posted it in the chat room or in the chat on how to get a hold of her. And I'm going to post it again, and we'll post it a couple different times. But she's got this really great blog. It's If You Ask Betty, and you can ask her anything learning and development or talent development for that matter, and just such a great seasoned professional. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Betty and let you take it over.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So I just want to make sure, let's see, which one are you seeing? I don't think that did that right. 1 second.
Actually, we were seeing the full screen.
You were? Okay.
Yep, we were seeing it.
Because it's giving me 2 options, and that's too many options. Okay.
Yep, we see that.
Okay, so are you seeing just the presentation, or are you seeing my notes?
We see the full presentation, no notes.
Hot diggity. Okay, well, hello and welcome. Today, as we kind of move through talking about pop-up AR, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how a fitness facility here in the Detroit area implemented AR for safety training. So as we kind of move through that, please feel free to put any questions, any information that you need in the chat. I'll be taking a look at that, and then my good buddy friends here will help me keep up with that as well if you have a lot of questions. So again, my name is Betty Dannewitz. You gave me a great introduction. I don't even have to go over all that, which is awesome. But it is really true. My life's passion is to help people become better humans. And I really believe that innovative technology like AR has a huge role in that. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this. I also have, not only do I have a website and a blog, but I also have a podcast. So if you are a fan of podcasts, I would encourage you to go to whatever podcast platform it is that you like. Search for If You Ask Betty, all lowercase, all one word. I do some podcasts around AR, but it's also all different types of development topics for all different types of learning people. And I will go ahead and do a call out to Mike Peacock, who is on this call. He actually, his podcast launched a couple of days ago. So he was a guest on my podcast, not a couple days, a couple weeks ago. So check that one out maybe first if you want to. All right, so if you don't already have the app Zapper, now is a great time to download it. So if you have your phone or your iPad near you, you will need that to get the full experience here. Zapper, Z-A-P-P-A-R, it looks kind of like a lightning bolt like you see here. Also, while you're doing that, I want to do sort of a quick temperature check. So how many of you know what augmented reality is? Go ahead and in the chat, just let me know. Do you know what augmented reality is? Well, Mike does. That's good. I'm glad because we had a whole podcast on that. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, great. So you know that, oh, we got one, not really. Okay, so listen up. You know that augmented reality is experiencing content sort of superimposed over your existing environment. So, here's an example for you, a real life example. This is the IKEA app, right? So you could find AR actually on your smartphone right now. We have applications like Snapchat, IKEA, Amazon, even Target now have AR experiences. So this is an example of IKEA. You can go out to their website, pick a couch. I don't know that I'd pick that green one, but maybe. I mean, it's cute. And then you can actually position it in your home and press a button and it will show you what it looks like in your house. Now these guys are goofing around, but nevertheless, you can use augmented reality to superimpose this on your current reality. So it's overlaying that content. And it's actually a fabulous engagement addition to your blended learning solutions. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So you might be looking at this saying, well, yeah, that's fun and cool and even kind of helpful, especially if I want to buy some furniture, but what does that really have to do with learning? So I want to answer that with a case study that for me quite literally does hit close to home. So anybody here, do you work out? Does anybody work out? Let me know in the chat. I mean, everybody's.
I run, but run from bears. That's about it.
I mean, that's whatever you got to do. Okay, so yeah, so working in the yard, that totally counts. So yeah, so working out. Anybody ever had a personal trainer? Yes. Okay. Nope. Yes. I used to. Okay. No. Me too. Nope. Okay. So a little bit of both. So 2 years ago, I opted in to go and experience firsthand what it was like to have a personal trainer. And that is when I met Ken. So this is Ken. Everybody say hi, Ken. Hi, Ken. Okay, great. So thank you. So there we go. So this is Ken. He looks like a personal trainer, did you think? I mean, he is, so that makes sense. But let me tell you a little bit about Ken. So Ken, he's been a personal trainer for like 18 years. He's very accomplished. He's a successful business owner. And a personal trainer like Ken, his skills are in high demand. Okay. So I'm just setting this up because I want to make sure you know how much he really loves his business and loves his clients. So this is a picture of his gym. So he owns his own fitness facility. It's called the Holistic Revolution, and it's in Wyandotte, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. It's beautiful. It's clean. I've never seen a gym that's clean. He has specialized equipment that most commercial gyms don't have. And he takes a really great pride in his facility and his business and his superpowers, which are personal training. He always wants to do things really well. So if you've ever worked out with a personal trainer, you know that it's not like just any other day at the gym. So I realized that pretty quickly. I watched how he sort of engaged with his clients as they asked questions. And I sort of watched some of the pain points that he was having. And over time, I started to see a little bit of a pattern with that. And the problem that I saw is that, first of all, safety is critical in the gym, right? It's absolutely critical that you're safe. This picture does not look at this guy as being very safe. Proper form and procedure is a key to safely practicing what you need to in the gym. But Ken is one dude. He's one guy. And no matter how awesome he is and how great he is at being a personal trainer, he's not able to teach all the people all the time, right? A lot of times when he's with a client and somebody else is in the gym working out, if they go to approach a machine, he can't necessarily leave his client to go over and explain how they can use it, properly and safely. So this was definitely an issue that I noticed. So I went to him and I had a suggestion, but before I get to that, I want to say, what about you? Have you ever had a problem like this? Like, have you ever needed to get critical information to individuals and you have to do that over and over and over again? So in the chat, like what kind of critical info have you ever had to just continually deliver just in time? Mike, I knew you would say yes. Oh, parenting teens. Yes, I like it. Safety, org changes, new hire. Adrian, tell me a little bit about new hire. What are some of the things that you have to, very specifically, that you have to do?
And Adrian, you can unmute yourself if you need to.
If you want to, sure. Compliance, sure. Process instructions to customer service reps. I like that. Oh, retail store setup. Oh, yeah. Over and over again, we have to talk about it, don't we? So how to build a business. Oh, wow, that sounds really interesting. How to build a business for scientists. Never thought about that. Yeah, so we have these problems, right? That we have to get critical information over and over and over again. So I started to notice this, and I came to Ken, back to that gym story, and I said to him, I said, listen, I think I have an idea. I have an idea. This solution started to form in my head. And one day I was at my appointment with him working out, and I was like, this is what we have to do. We had to find a way to get that critical safety information to the client right where they needed it, right when they needed it. And some of you might have heard of this concept before it's kind of called workflow learning. Anybody has heard of that before? Like learning in the moment that you need it? I bet you have. So just in time learning. Yeah, absolutely. Just in time. So I said to Ken, I know how to help you. I said, you need augmented reality in your gym. So after I spent a couple minutes explaining what that was, Ken, while he's a great trainer, not technically savvy at all, he was all in. And so began AR at the Holistic Revolution. And so the platform that we used is Zapper. So hopefully by now you have downloaded that app. I'm a big fan of Zapper, and here's a couple of reasons. One, their mission is to make it easy and cheap for anyone to create AR. And I'm all about anything that's easy and cheap. The mission also spoke to me because it's inclusive, but super relevant to L&D, right? Super relevant to learning and development. And it really is true. They really are easy and cheap because honestly, I'm a designer. I'm not a developer. But I could tell anyone that if you can create a PowerPoint slide, you can create augmented reality with Zapper. Can I get an amen, Mike Peacock? Because I think you will totally agree with me. If you can create a PowerPoint slide, you can create augmented reality with Zapper. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to experience some of the things that that I created for the gym. Does that sound good? Are you excited? You want to do that? Okay, good. So if you have your Zapper app, here's how it works. You open up the Zapper app, you aim the Zapper at the code that I'm going to show you. It will sort of zap and come to life. You'll get a chance to do that experience. You'll get a chance to go through that experience. And then what you can do is at the upper right-hand corner, typically, or in the upper ribbon, there's like a little eyeball that will allow you to refresh when we move on to the next one. Okay, ready? So let me tell you a little bit about what we did first. So the first thing was on the equipment, we created quick videos, like 60 to 90 seconds, with Ken sort of demoing the machines. And then we took those videos and we created like a menu, an AR experience with a menu of options. So as folks approach the machine, they have real-time safety information right at the moment that they needed it. So go ahead and with your Zapper app, you can scan this. You may want to mute your phone because there's always music involved when I create a zap code. So I'll give you just a minute to scan that and take a look, and you can sort of experience the menu and maybe even a part of one of the videos that came up. And once you've had some of that experience, just give me some sort of comment in the chat so I know that you're getting a chance to look at it. Oh, hey, I got it. Cool. So somebody got it to work. Okay, great. I'm so excited. You guys got a chance to take a look at it. So we put these up on several of the different machines. This was for a lat pull down machine. This one is fairly common in other commercial gyms, but we also did some for, he has something called a belt squat. And if you want to know what that is, just jot that down. You can Google that later. I've never seen that in a commercial gym before. So we definitely wanted to use that to show people how to do it right. So thanks, Don. I'm glad you like the music. So people loved it. So we kept going and we built some more. So the next thing was we wanted to utilize AR to give sort of generalized information about the gym. So we created an AR experience that had quick hits of information about the holistic revolution. We use something called a widget in Zapper. So we could showcase several different pieces. And I go like this because they kind of go around in a circle. And it's a super fun and interesting way. So take a look at this one. You can go ahead and zap that code and see a widget. And I'll give you just another minute. So as you can see, it plays the music. Of course, he's got his own theme song now at this point, and it just kind of goes around with different options to go to his website. There's a contact card that you can actually download the contact information into your device. And so as you're looking at this, hopefully it's starting to sort of turn the gears in your head. And so let me ask you, do you have information that you give to all participants? Maybe... So, you know what? I think you should contact him, Aaron. He would be so excited. He would be like, what? He would think he's a super rock star. Anyways, so do you have information that you would give to all participants? Maybe something like your company's history, or something to do with core values, or your diversity and inclusion information. These are all great places to start when it comes to AR. And you're absolutely right, Bruce. This is extra advertising, but it also gives really important information to people who don't know or understand what this gym is about. Because if you've spent a lot of time in gyms, you'll know that there are so many different things. There's CrossFit gyms, there's cycle studios, there's commercial gyms like Planet Fitness, and things like that. So I'm going to show you one more that we did for them. Bruce, don't jump the gun. I'm going to tell you about that. Okay, so we also wanted to see an opportunity to showcase the staff. So I put this up here. We wanted to highlight the value they bring. Now, I want to tell you that these are very simple applications, largely because, number one, much like most people, they were shy to get in front of the camera. Well, Ken's not shy, but the other two ladies were shy to get in front of the camera and talk about themselves. So I'm working on that so that we can sort of build a more robust. But I would really like it if you could kind of take a look and just see there's a way to showcase them with pictures, with other content information. It doesn't always have to have a menu. Sometimes it can just have a specific amount of content. And I like what Aaron says. You could totally reinforce culture, with learning apps like, Arist. I'll have to check that one out. I don't know much about that one. So they all have the same format based on the trainer. So if you looked at one, you'll understand the others. But let me ask you this. Who could you spotlight in this way in your organization? Maybe your leaders? Maybe your L&D team? I mean, you might as well make yourself celebrities, because why not? Right? So you could spotlight somebody in this way. Okay, I see what you're saying, Bruce. Certifications, yeah, it's really cool because you can see at a glance, are these people really certified to be my trainer? All right. So I want to give you 4 quick hit steps to get AR into your organization if you're not already doing this. So I'm going to sort of go through them quickly, and then I'm going to talk about them individually. And if we have time at the end, I have a couple more examples. So don't delete that Zapper app just yet. Those of you who like to keep your phone nice and neat, hang on to it, because if we have some time, I'll show you a couple more. So there's 4 quick steps I want to tell you about. First one is create a clear vision for how you want to use AR in your organization. Then the next thing is you want to focus on what you can do. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what that means in just a minute. Once you've done that, talk about AR socially with everyone you know. People that are colleagues, people that are at your business, people that are, if we ever get to gather together again, people at, Easter dinner, Christmas dinner, like your family, your friends, talk about it. And then the last thing is connect and learn more. So let's talk a little deeper about this. First of all, create a clear vision. So this step is super critical. You have to start by creating a vision for AR for your learning organization and then follow it, because here's what happens if you don't. Oh, we could do this. Oh, we could do that. I mean, I'm starting to see it already in the chat, like great ideas, right? And you just all of a sudden monkey brain. And so if you don't have a clear vision, you'll start creating things and you'll get overwhelmed by all of the different things that you could do instead of focusing on the things that you really should do based on your vision. A lot of organizations are looking to solve problems. So sometimes it's easier if you start with a problem that you need to solve. So going back to one of the examples we had, if the problem is that you need to get information like company history and core values to your participants in an innovative way, maybe your vision goes around something like, we need to start by implementing AR in our new hire programs to show things like this. And maybe that's a start. It doesn't mean you can't come back. And thank you so much, Erin, for talking about essentialism. It doesn't mean you can't come back and then expand your vision. Start with something clear, okay? So by now you've thought of a few ways or problems maybe that you could solve. So go ahead and put some of those in the chat. I know that Bruce had an idea, put the code on people's forehead. Yeah, so you could scan. I don't know if we should do that, but you know what would work is putting it on their badge. And what if you put a code on the badge to give them a map of the building? Okay, sounds great to me. Let's see what else. Bruce had another one, a good one. Scroll down. Can you reinforce that?
Or maybe we use it at Learnapalooza Innovation Jam for alternative event badges.
Fabulous. I love that idea.
So we do like people to actually talk to each other.
Yeah. Put the code in doorways to machinery rooms, for example, for safety and directions. I love that idea. You can use, Mike uses it for the Zapper app for his building. Virtual new hire material walkthrough. I like that idea, Stacy McMath. Alternative name. Okay, you took Erin's idea. Okay, good. You guys are fun. I'm having a good time. Okay, so you've got some of those thoughts. Hopefully you're jotting those down as well. But if you see another idea on here that wasn't yours, they offered it up, so take it and run with it. I think that's a great idea. So the next step was focus on what you can do. And here's why I said this. When I first got into AR, I remember having conversations about, well, we can't do this and we can't do that because, AR is stored in the cloud. So a lot of companies, especially financial companies, which is what my day job is, they want to talk about what they can't do because there's risk and there's this and there's that. Well, stop that stinking thinking, right? And focus on what you can do with AR. When I did that, when I was first getting started, I found that the list of things that I could do was 3 times longer than the list of things that I couldn't do. So look for those small bites of content that you deliver the same way over and over again, and that you can take those and give them a boost in engagement, and then just start creating prototypes. One other thing I love about Zapper is they give you 5 free personal codes to just go out there and prototype and play with. And now they're even offering a piece by piece price. So you could buy a couple more codes. So if you wanted to create prototypes and take them to your leaders, that would be a great thing to do right there. So those experience, once you start building those, it sort of builds your skills in AR, and it allows your creativity and what you can do with it to sort of grow and oh, look. Okay. The next step is talk about AR socially. So managers, friends, colleagues, join conversations with people outside of your organization so you can bounce ideas off of them and hear about how they implemented AR. Make it your personal mission to socialize the idea of AR and learning and show off the prototypes that you've created. Make sure you show those prototypes to any stakeholders when you go to the meeting to get their buy-in. Don't show up without prototypes. They won't get it. You've got to bring something with you when you pitch the idea so that they can experience that. And then the last step is all about connecting and learning more. So keep learning about AR. What I love is when you Google stuff, like once you Google it, it starts showing up in like your feed, right? So if you Google AR or augmented reality, you'll get articles, and then Google will start to add other articles about AR to your homepage. So do that. And then make sure that you connect with people on LinkedIn that are talking about AR and learning. Myself, I can give you some more names. I'll put them in the chat for you. And there's a huge crossover also in marketing with AR. So there's a lot to be learned from the application in that space. So I know you guys have been chatting it up. Do we have questions?
Yeah, Betty, can you maybe give some examples of how talking about it socially has landed with maybe various audiences or personas you've worked with so that it's an authentic socializing, not smarmy selling or geeking out in a way that doesn't land?
Sure. So for me, when I go to conferences, I typically find people that are talking about AR. Or if I'm on LinkedIn, I will pay attention to posts about AR and then go and see, okay, is this a person that's doing that? Or is this a company that's trying to push something?
What about people who might not be as apt to adopt it? Like, how do you evangelize if it's kind of weird and scary for end users?
Okay, so how do you, I like that. You got to show them. And Mike Peacock can back me up on this. You have to show them in order for them to see the real value of it. And here's the thing. A lot of times, the first time you talk about it or show it off, they're like, yeah, that's cool. I don't really see how that could be helpful, though. And that's okay, because the more you learn about it, the more you can create, and you can go back and show it again. The thing is, AR is part of a blended learning solution. So if they're looking at it as this is the only solution to this learning problem, that's not what you're after. You're using it as a point of engagement. Does that help?
So one of the questions I have, Betty, is, so we download the app. It's really easy to look at, but you talk about this as hey, anybody can do this. Can you give us kind of time frame, like you said, hey, I want to do this. It was kind of fun to experiment. How long did it take you to kind of create your first app, and what is it like to do that? And then how long does it take you to create some of these other things that you've been doing?
Sure. So that very first one I showed you with on the equipment for with the menu of the different moves that you could do outside of video production time, right? So assuming you already have the videos done, building the menu and adding in the links. We chose to use YouTube because it will load faster. And when you're in the middle of you're in between sets, you need it to be pretty quick when you're at the gym. Than if you actually load the direct content, but you could actually load content directly to it, not just a link. Creating that one in particular took me 15, 20 minutes to go in and create the buttons and then link the buttons and then tell the story basically of which scene to go to. If I was counting creating the background graphic, maybe an hour at the most. And that's just because I had to pick between, I had to keep picking through Bitmojis to decide which one to use. So it's really quick and easy, especially once you have the content finished. It sort of ties it all together. Any other questions?
Yeah, there's quite a few here in the chat. Do you want me to read them out, or do you have a chance to look at those?
Let's do one more, and then I'm gonna, if I can have just 5 more minutes to tell you a couple more things. Okay, so I'm just gonna start at the bottom here. I really like this as a blended solution. My thought is, how do I get them to understand this value versus just creating videos or e-learning? How do you pitch AR as a learning benefit? Okay, I love that. So that's it's a perfect segue into what I was about to talk about. So let me just go ahead and answer it with this next slide. As I continue to create AR, it became very clear to me that augmented reality can help bridge the gap between how we learn at home and how we learn at work. So when you're at home and you need to learn how to do something, what do? You GTS it, right? You Google it, you look up YouTube. Do you typically open your laptop to make those searches? You use your phone. You grab your phone, your personal device. The problem is that if you use your personal device at work, a lot of places it still has some sort of stigma. People think you're not working, you're slacking off, or you're on Facebook, or on the Twitter or something like that. But for a lot of people, for many people, learning on your personal device is easy and normal and actually their preferred way to do it. So if we can make it safe for people to learn on their personal devices at work like they do at home, then we'll start to sort of change that culture. And here's the added bonus. Okay, you ready for this? So those of you who do social media know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. You pick up this device to experience something with Zapper, for example, right? And a couple of things happens. Number one, you pick up the device that you are completely in love with. Don't try to deny it. We're all in love with it, okay? So here's something that you love that you're now looking at, and the thing that you love emits this blue light, and this blue light gives you this fabulous shot of dopamine every time you look at it. Some of us, it's a little smaller than others because we spend a lot of time on it, but nevertheless, you're getting a shot. So now they're using their personal device that they love, they're scanning, they're experiencing something that they're learning, and while they're learning, they're getting a shot of dopamine. So if you have to, pull out the science guns, right, and be like, listen, maybe not guns, but science books, okay? This is what's happening. We can bridge that gap between how we learn at home and how we learn at work, making people more comfortable and giving them that shot of dopamine that they want anyways. They're dying for it. Believe me, they haven't touched their phone in 15 minutes. They need to look at that screen. We should capitalize on that. Hopefully that helps answer the question. Okay, and just one other thing, I want to give you a couple of free ideas, and then we'll go ahead into answering some more questions. So one of them, Bruce brought up at the very beginning, create an AR business card. They're always a huge hit. In fact, on the next slide, you'll be able to scan and see my business card. It's very simple prototype. I actually pitched this to our executives at my day job, and they absolutely loved it. I created AR business cards for all of them. And what's awesome is we printed a little zap code and put it on their paper business cards, but you can also take that zap code and put it on your email signature. So as you're emailing clients and colleagues, they can then zap the code and get a personalized message from you if you wanted to do a video or have some sort of interactive experience, okay? The other thing too, the other free idea I wanted to give you is a lot of times in training, we do games or knowledge checks, right? So create a game, maybe it's a trivia game, and add zap codes to it. So if you add in augmented reality, we did one based on Candyland. And if you remember Candyland, you turn the card over, it's got a colored square, it tells you how many to go. Well, sometimes there are special cards that have like an ice cream cone or a lollipop on them that take you to a special square. Well, how about if when they pull that special card, they have to then receive and answer their question in augmented reality. So they have to use their device, or you could provide iPads if you're in person, and go ahead and they scan it. The question comes up and you program into it very easily. I use the word program. It's probably not that fancy. The answer. So then when they answer, it tells them if they're correct or not correct. And so those are two quick free ideas how you could get started with them right away. All right, so we'll go ahead and let me look at a couple more questions here. Erin, if you have a better handle on them, I would let you.
No, I think let's look at a couple. Yeah, it's a lot of great comments. I think if you guys want, just keep putting questions in the chat. Keep in mind, If You Ask Betty, literally ifyouaskbetty.com is also a place to get all questions that don't get answered here answered. Betty's kind enough to be responsive even well after this session's over, because we want to be mindful of time. Some people, Dina said, I'm creating a team building exercise that involves over 300 teams globally, but talking about the same topic. Any ideas how I might be able to use AR for that?
Dina, set some time with me. I would love to brainstorm with you on that. I have ideas, but I have questions before I can give you any ideas. So I definitely think that's something you could do. I love that you use that word globally, because if you can download the app, which by the way, it's Apple and Android. So, and Google phone. So typically you can download the app. Anywhere in the world you could use it. So definitely, please, I would love to chat with you about that.
Okay. There's a practical question about where can you actually create the buttons and content? Is it in the app or on the website? So a little bit of designed architecture under the hood.
Yeah. So and let me answer the question above it first. So do you create the content on your phone or your computer? You create it. Okay. Zapper, the Zapper app is how you experience the content. You create it on ZapWorks. So zapworks.com. On ZapWorks, you can create the buttons. There's a couple of ways you could do it. They actually have a thing that says button. So you could create a button. You can upload content. You can upload videos. You can upload pictures. You can put in YouTube links, Vimeo links, things like that. ZapWorks 1P. But you can also like use an image and turn an image into a button. So one of the things that I did for my day job is, in order to create a branded image, so it looked more like our brand, I created it in Illustrator, imported it as a PNG into ZapWorks, and then made that basically a hot button. So it created a button so that it either went to another scene in the experience or it linked out to an external website. So hopefully that helps with that.
That does. And you had mentioned earlier about how successful this kind of works with marketing. So I think that's a great kind of sideways tip on the marketing and branding side. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of what we do is kind of similar to what they do. And I'm saying the we and they. A lot of what L&D does is, especially when we're trying to get people in our classes, is very similar to what marketing does.
Oh, don't get Darren Nerlin started on that.
Okay.
What kind of metrics for success with your end users or trainees have you been able to capture?
How have you measured success? Okay, so with the trainer himself, it's about word of mouth. And he's a small, got 70 plus clients. He doesn't have 700 clients. So it's a small gym. It's word of mouth. He called me the other day. Well, this was the other day before we were in quarantine, and he said, "Hey, it was so cool. We had a young dude in here today." And I was like, "Okay, well, Ken, to you, a young dude is 28, but that's fine." Had a young dude in here, and he saw the welcomes and he scanned it, and he was so freaked out. He thought it was so awesome. So for him, it's more of a word of mouth referral service type of measurement. At the day job, the measuring of success often comes with the number of scans. So ZapWorks does provide some level of analytics. It doesn't tell you who scanned it, but it'll tell you how many times a Zap code was scanned and where in the world it was scanned. And that's kind of fun because sometimes, people scan stuff in crazy places, who knows why. But so it can give you some of those analytics. next question was, since the content is stored in the cloud, we need to be concerned with intellectual property. As far as somebody breaching it, Zapper has a very robust security plan, platform, whatever word it is that you want to use. So I would direct you to them in order to feel really secure about that. I found the best way to feel good about the content is to use things that are non-proprietary or public, so that, you know, the risk is zero with non-proprietary information. And there is so much non-proprietary information that we teach our people anyways, and public information. So that's sort of where I started with that. Any others? You guys have great questions. How might we use this for COVID-19? I don't know. I have to think about that.
I think it's a good question for the group. Maybe that's our takeaway assignment. Come back and connect with If You Ask Betty on social, connect with us at Learnapalooza, and you know, it'd be a fun thought experiment to crowdsource with this group. How could we be innovative and responsive? I'm certainly thinking of some things, but
it would. And I appreciate you bringing that up, because I got to be honest, I avoid talking about COVID-19 as much as possible because I feel so saturated with information about it. But I had not thought about how could we use this, and I think that's awesome. So I would love to crowdsource that information. Scan the code by the sink. Can you? Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, what's the difference between Zapper, Zapworks, and Zapbox? They're all the same company. Zapper is the parent company and the name of the app. Zapworks is where you design the experiences, and a Zapbox is actually mixed reality. So it's that's a whole other webcast, but it's a matter of using a headset and potentially holding. They have like wands. They kind of look like wands to be able to move items, 3D items in the air. It's something that I love and I'm interested in, but haven't really had a whole lot of time to play with. If you're going to start by getting AR, I would do a pop-up AR, which is why we call it pop-up AR, where you're bringing in videos and other types of content as part of a blended solution. Oh, I love the Elmo video idea. It's great. Yes, Dina, it is being recorded. How is the career in AR? So, as far as I can tell, and I do pay attention to this, AR is a skill set in addition to many others, right? So I've only seen a couple of job descriptions out there that say augmented reality creator, and they're typically for groups that are L&D consultants that are looking for someone with a very specific skill set. So hopefully that answers that question. I don't want to keep going if you guys need to wrap up, but I am more than happy to answer questions, or if you want some more examples, I got a couple more examples.
I just put in one last question. If there are any other influencers or AR companies that you think are worth following, maybe feel free to send those to us or pop in the chat.
Yep.
We'll be happy to kind of share that out so we can kind of learn from the community. And I want to be mindful of everybody's time. We're at about 1:45 now. We promised we'd be done by 5. Happy to release folks to what is a beautiful day out in the Pacific Northwest a little bit early if you want. But if there's any interest in at least one more example from Betty, I think we should. If you ask Betty, she'll do it.
All right, so we're going to have a vote. So I have an example of an interactive 3D object. I have an example of, I'm trying to remember what the other ones, a 360 video, or I have an example of special effects. So cast your vote, 3D special effects or 360 video. Special effects, 3D, the coolest one. Okay, I am going to show you, I'm going to show you the special effects. Here it is right here. So go ahead and scan this one. If you're a fan of, this is an older example, not from the gym, obviously, but if you're a fan of the group One Direction, you will totally appreciate this. There's a fun use of special effects to engage the audience. let me know if you got a chance to see it. It's kind of fun. I totally Googled and found this. So if you Google One Direction AR, you can probably find some more. All right, you want one more? These are quick. These ones are pretty quick. Okay. Interactive 3D objects. This is a zapper example. Go ahead and scan it. You can, I haven't done anything like this for the gym, but this is a basic example. You can scan it and interact with a cute little robot dude. So maybe if you have something 3D that you want people to be able to interact with in your organization, this would be a great way to do that. Did everybody see the little robot guy? Okay, good. She said, yeah. All right, I'm going to do the last one because we just have to. We have to. Aaron and Darren, sorry about that. We have to. Okay, 360 images. So go ahead and just for funsies, scan this one. And when you scan it, keep your device pointed at the zap code until you see 3 orbs appear on the screen. And then you can tap one of those orbs and you'll be instantly transported to somewhere else around the world. And you should be able to sort of move your device around and see where you are. And once you do, put in the chat, where are you? There you go. Kate's at the Great Wall of China. This is probably the best way to visit that right now. The Statue of Liberty. Dina's at Stonehenge, okay? So you can take a 360 image and actually give them a more immersive experience through the AR code. What a great way to bridge the gap between employees at different locations, right? That might not ever get to visit each other. Or what about distant students and their home college campus, right? It's a great way for them to be able to see what their home college campus looks like, even if they're not able to come and visit it right away. That's what I have, you guys. Thank you so much for your awesome engagement. Made me so happy. Yes, graduation ceremonies. Yes, you are correct, because I have a high school senior, so it's very sad this year. Oh, yay. Thanks, Bruce. Please connect with me. I am super nice. I love to chat. I'm a 97% extrovert, so being quarantined is killing me. So I need you. I need you desperately.
I can relate to that. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We hope that you found value in this session and what topics you might want to see in the future. And we'll just keep the learning and connecting with community going. So thank you so much, Betty.